Good evening, my faithful YouTube subscribers. Today is Thursday, January 7th. The year is 2021. We're in a new year, new opportunities, new horizons, new everything. So, last year was a doozy for a lot of us. I know it was for me. Family members and friends, we all kind of struggle with the coronavirus pandemic and how to proceed forward. I had family members and friends who were ill last year. I have family members and friends. I have an aunt who's in the hospital right now today from the coronavirus. So this year we're kind of off to a bumpy start again, kind of like last year. We're all trying to figure out how we're going to make it through 2021. It's just getting started. A lot of people I know are in financially dire situations. Things are not working out the way they wanted to work out, but they don't want to. 2021 for a lot of people right now is 2020 part 2, because it's just the continuation of life. The bump in the road continues. We didn't say the bump was going to be a little. There might be a couple more bumps in the road this year, but eventually those bumps will go away, or you'll learn how to jump over those bumps and keep it moving. I had a friend who was unemployed all last year, literally from March of last year. Was unemployed, sending out job application after job after he finally got his dream job in 2021. And he's starting off the year at his new job and he's happy. But it took a little soul searching. It wasn't easy. But he's doing something that he loves to do. I think this job is better off than the job he once had before. A couple of my friends have new jobs. A couple of them. And they were took some long stretches of unemployment last year. So things will improve. It's going to take a little time. Didn't say the road was going to be easy. But I remember, I look at the rough stretches I went through in life, and I'm not sitting here saying that my life is perfect and it's been great. I've had some difficult times, whether it's relationships, financial, family members, friends. I've had my roller coaster rides. I've had the ups and I've had the downs, and I just strapped onto that roller coaster and just held on, because that's all you can really do. Some of you all are trying to figure out how you're going to pay rent, how you gonna pay bills, and the reason why I'm doing this video, because I've had conversation after conversation after conversation with so many people who are struggling right now. But one thing I have noticed, you have all these people struggling and you want to help them, or you have some ideas, or you have some thoughts that you want to share with them, but they ain't listening. That's the weirdest thing to me. There's so many people want your assistance, but they're not listening to a word you're saying. They calling you, they're talking to you, you're making suggestions, you're telling them stuff, but they're not listening. They're not heeding any advice. And I've never understood this. When I was in my 20s, early 20s, I had a friend named Tony Borns who kind of took me in and gave me some advice on a lot of stuff. Tony was in his 30s, and I was grateful to have that older individual in my life to point me in the right direction. And he did. He's very inspiring to me. Unfortunately, Tony died from AIDS in the late 90s. But it was great to have someone like him. It was inspirational to have somebody like him to give me some assistance, to tell me what to do, how to navigate certain things. Whether it was buying a home, understanding the hood, or whatever. I just so much to understand the HUD one when you purchase a house. You purchase a house, you get that contract of closing. I couldn't figure it out. So I'm wondering when people call and they hang up and call right back again. It's like, why? I'm over here choking on some popcorn I was eating. But if you're going to come to somebody for advice, and the person's older than you, and they've been through some things, you kind of might want to listen to what they have to say. You might want to listen because maybe they've made the same mistakes you're about to make. And they say, don't do it that way. When somebody would come to me and say, Walter, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's the wrong way to do that. Do it this way. Or don't do it at all. I listen. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's a younger generation of people who just refuse to listen. Their heads are hard as rocks. You can't tell them nothing. They don't want to listen. They don't want to hear shit you got to say. You giving them the best advice you can come up with, but they don't want to hear none of it. And that's why so many of these young people are failing. They're not making it. Because people are giving you good advice. People see you walking down a path. People are coming at you making suggestions. But y'all don't want to hear shit nobody got to tell you because you think you know it all. Here's the funny part. I'm good at predicting things. I've always been good at predicting things. I can kind of see the handwriting on the wall and say, okay, this is going to go left. And I'll tell people, I wouldn't do that if I were you. But they do it anyway. And everything I predicted has a tendency to come true. And then people get mad at me because, Walter just told me something that came true. What he said was correct. Yeah, because I've done that before. I've made that mistake before. I know how this is going to end. But again, nobody wants to listen. And then after they've made all these mistakes and created all this catastrophe in their life, now they need some help getting out of this situation. Now they're ready to listen to how you're going to get them out of this pit they didn't drug themselves into, this hole they didn't fell into, this ditch they didn't fell off in, after you told them, don't do that. See, you could have avoided all that drama by listening and saying, well, Walter told me not to do that. You know, why would he be telling me not to do this? Is he trying to keep me from my destiny? Is he keeping me from living my dream? Or is he keeping me from falling deep into that 10-foot ditch that I won't be able to get my black ass out of? You know, here's the funny part. Had I been in Washington, D.C. around a group of friends of mine, and I saw people running into that Capitol, I'd have said, y'all, we not going in there. We gonna stand out here on this street. Now they can run up in there. Everybody else, I told everybody with my crew, I'd have been like, we're not going in that Capitol because we're not supposed to be in there. And we are not about to lead no revolution. This is not 1682 or 1617 or whatever. This is 2020. And we gonna stay right here on this curb. We can take pictures from afar, but we're not going nowhere on that property. Because all those people who went in there are going to be facing some serious charges. Now, I've been around people, I've been in situations where people started looting and all kinds of crazy shit. I never participated. This is going to be a disaster. And I sure as hell would have ran my ass up in the White House just to get a picture of the Capitol, just to get a picture of us standing in the rotunda. They're going to get us 5 years in federal prison for trespassing, and everything else they're going to throw the books at their asses for. I wouldn't have stepped foot on that damn property. We just stayed on the street outside the Capitol and took pictures out there, smiling and cheese and taking our selfies, and went on about our damn business, but I would have went in there. If anybody around me, I'd have said, don't go in there, because you're going to regret it. That one who got killed, those people who got killed, who lost their lives going in there, running with that pack of wild, ignorant-ass animals, you know, they're dead now. Can't get a second chance when you're dead. You can't. It's over with. And that's just it. And now, clearly some of those people who died, that young woman who died, she was clearly old enough to know better than to follow that group of people into that Capitol. She should have known better. I wouldn't have done that. Nor would I have allowed anyone in my circle, if we were there, which we wouldn't have been in any damn way protesting Donald Trump's black ass, white ass, whatever ass, his orange ass. Hey, ain't no way in hell we would have been in Washington, D.C. I'm just using this for an example. Because I've been in some situations where I said, y'all, let's go. We're not getting involved in this. Now, I've been around a group of friends where we were plotting and planning. I said, y'all, that ain't a good idea. Let's just leave that alone. And I was sitting at a table with closing attorneys and real estate agents and they were plotting and planning all this stuff. And I said, I'll pass on this one. And all them folks ended up going to federal prison. See, I've been involved in this shit. I've been down that path. I kind of know how a lot of this shit is going to end before you get... And sometimes you take a chance. You say, you know what? I'm going to take this chance on this. Although I know how this is going to end. Maybe I got it wrong this time. Let me roll the dice and see. Craps. You lose. You say, I knew that shit. But I took a chance. Depends on the chances. And the outcome. Or what may happen. If the risk is relatively low, take a chance. But if the risk is high, the higher the risk, the more danger it is for you in your life, your well-being, your financial well-being, and your life that you only get one of. My suggestion is you just leave it alone. We said you gotta weigh the risk. A lot of people are doing a lot of stupid shit out here. A lot of people are doing a lot of dumb shit. And they're not living, and they're not getting a second chance. That's why I do not understand. If somebody took the time to tell you, to sit down and talk to you, point you in the right direction, and tell you all the obstacles and pitfalls and everything else you may have, and you don't listen to a word they have to say, you got what you got coming. You were warned. You were warned. But you did it in any damn way. I don't have no sympathy for you. I just don't. After you were warned and you did it any damn way, after somebody sat down and told you, do not do this. Like my friend Tony Barnes told me, Walter, do not do this. And I looked at Tony, and I looked at what I was plotting and planning to do, and I looked at Tony, looked at me like, okay, motherfucker, what you gonna do? I followed Tony Barnes' advice. But everybody else that did, but I was thinking about doing it. Went to jail for long periods of time. Tony had to stay on top of me because he said, Walter, you're a risk taker. Nothing wrong with being a risk taker, but know when to take the right risk. The risk versus the reward. I admire Tony Barnes. I mean, he was just an intelligent man. I was in my early 20s. I was a wild animal. Literally. Wouldn't do something every damn thing. I got my first Apple computer. I was sitting at home just making all kinds of stuff. He said, what are you doing? I said, I found a way to make birth certificates. He was like, oh, okay, what are you going to do with them? I didn't know. I said, I don't know. I did a video about that. Go look at that. I'm going to go back to that one day about certain crime I was involved in. Oh, Lord, I should have never... You get involved in certain stuff. You just... I don't even know. Some things I look back and say, why did I do that mess? What the fuck was I thinking? I'm grateful Tony was there to stop my ass. Ooh, Lord, thank God Tony Barnes was there. Because he was right there slamming on, putting up a constant stop sign. Sit your ass down someplace. Ah, damn it, I can't do that either. I would go in and sit down. Damn, I was going to do this. And I always read about Tony. Because Tony was smart. So I always said, Tony, I read about Tony. Tony said, that's a good one. You can get away with that one. I said, okay, good. But if I go talk about Tony, Tony's eyes lit up and he said, don't do that. I said, okay. Thank you, Tony. I'll see you later. Because Tony was, look, Tony was one of those people. He had these expensive cars, this beautiful house. He was just awe-inspiring. So you go in there like, okay, first off, you have to make an appointment. So I called Tony saying, you home? Do you mind if I stop by? He might be busy doing something. And I make sure I didn't want to interrupt. Because I wanted to, I had to be a lot of respect. He was older than me. He was just this awe-inspiring person to me. He was, and everybody else too that was around. And he was intelligent. He's brilliant. He was rich. To me, he was rich. But he was hustling. But he had a beautiful home. He did this massive addition. He had these cars. He had this money in the bank. It was just crazy. Tony Barnes, I would go over to Tony's house and Tony would hand me a stack of cash. Just go to deposits in my bank account. And I'll be like, looking at this money. I'm like, he give me the deposit slip. And I'm back then, I'll say, okay, I'll run up to the bank and put every dime into his bank account because he knew I wasn't going to run off with his money. Because I had a house right up the street that I'm trying to pay for. I was stuck paying for that house up the street. He doesn't live very far from me. But for somebody to trust me to give me a stack of money and deposit slip and say, why don't you go deposit in my bank account? That meant something to me. And then when Tony got sick, I was with Tony the night. We were at a nightclub in Atlanta. We went out. I picked Tony up, which was very unusual. Tony went out with me. We went out, and there was this huge group of people. And people just started running for some reason. And Tony was running. He hurt his leg. And I never forget, he hurt his leg, cut his leg. And we didn't think nothing about it. We wrapped the leg up. He was cut. We put him in the car, took him home. And that his leg never healed. And that's the start of the whole process. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into the details of all of that tonight because it's kind of gory. But Tony would not let them amputate his leg for whatever reason. I don't know why. And he should have cut that damn leg off. But he wouldn't let him amputate it. His mother just wasn't strong enough to, gosh, I forget all about Miss Bowen's, Tony Bowen's mother, but I'm getting off subject here. If somebody older than you gives you advice, and I'm not saying everybody is wiser as they're older, but they've been through some stuff. Sometimes it's best to sit down and listen to what they have to say. You might not like what they're telling you. You might not like anything they have to say. But I strongly suggest you listen to it. Take heart to it and listen. Because they don't have to tell you anything. I've gotten to a point where I don't even like to talk to a lot of younger people because there's so much confusion. They don't want to hear shit that you have to say. But I keep thinking about Tony giving me that opportunity, reaching out to me, and me being a hard-headed wild animal in the early days of Atlanta, in the early 90s, thinking I was invincible, and Tony had to sit my black ass down on many occasions. And there were some times I didn't tell Tony something, and he found out from somebody else. And that's when he would show up in my driveway. And that's when he would show up and he'd be like, what are you doing? Did you meet with so-and-so? And so I'd be like, yeah, he found out. But I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful I had a Tony Barnes in my corner. Somebody told me to sit my dumb black ass down and don't think I know everything. And no, Walter, you're not invincible. I learned a lot, a hell of a lot from Tony. Boy, did I learn a lot. Well, this is a long video. I said I was going to try to keep it, make these 30-minute long videos. But, you know, when you have a heart and you care about people, that's how you end up giving people advice. Tony had a heart and he cared about me. Tony didn't know me from a can of paint. I swear to you all. Tony saw me at the club one night. He said, he just walked up to me and said, I've heard about you. You're Walter, huh? He said, yeah. He said, I heard a lot of stuff about you. You need to watch your back. You need to watch. We didn't have cell phones back then. And, you know, and he was talking to me and I said, I got to get this man's phone number because I heard about Tony. I had heard about him too, but he knew about me. You know. And just out of the blue, he came up and started talking to me. And I remember walking out to his car. He had this beautiful 7 Series BMW. I said, oh my God, this car is beautiful. I'd never seen one. And I was relatively young. I was in my early 20s. And I remember getting in that car and he gave me his phone number. He was with his little boyfriend. This guy he was dating. And he said he wanted to talk to me, to call him the next day. And then I gave him my phone number. And the next day I didn't call him, but he called me. I never got that because I said, he calling me. And then we had home, you know, we had the home phone ringing. The call ID, and I said, it's Tony Barnes. And he invited me to his house. And I admired Tony because he cared enough about me when I didn't even care enough about myself. That man was a complete stranger to me, but he saw something positive in me and wanted to push me in the right direction. I'll never forget him. I remember them tongue lashings. I remember the times he cussed my black ass out a few times too. Because I had a hard head. And I was hanging with some ruthless people that he hated. People said Tony was arrogant, but he wasn't arrogant. He was brilliant. He was a hustler. That nigga knew how to make some money. I give him that, and I learned a lot from him. And I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful he walked into my life because he didn't have to, but he did. But anyway, I'll talk about more about Tony. I think I've talked about Tony in previous videos. I'm gonna have to check and see because I know I've talked about Tony Boyens a few years back. But he was absolutely positive experience in my life. You know, somebody was pushing me in the right direction, pushing me to do things the right way versus the wrong way. Yeah, he was a hustler. He was. But anyway, today it is Thursday, January 7th, the year 2021. And I really wish, I hope this video made some sense to some of you young folks. Y'all got to learn and start listening. If somebody sits down and gives you advice from their heart, and they take the time to sit down and school you on something, listen to what they have to say, because they know a little bit more than you. You know, they've been through some things. I've been through some things. That's why I do these videos. I try to get, from day one I did this channel, my YouTube channel was about sharing information and getting people to learn and acknowledge. I know it has been a rough ride for us. It has been. Some videos I regret. The Xavier Files. For obvious reasons. Never do nothing out of anger. When I've learned it, when I'm angry, when y'all see me not on my YouTube channel and no videos popping up, I'm angry. Ranting, raving, and angry. They might turn out to be entertaining videos, but probably best for me to calm my black ass down and take a chill pill. One of the things I've learned over the years by having a YouTube channel, everything shouldn't be shared. But anyway, today is, again, Thursday, January 7th, year 2021. We're still in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Over 4,300 people died yesterday. Almost 4,300 people died in the United States from coronavirus in the past, on Wednesday, the past 24 hours. So our numbers be thousands and thousands of people are dying every day. We cannot wait to get Joe Biden in the office. And maybe begin the correction. But it's a rainy night in Georgia. I'm about to get out of here because somebody's heading over to grab something. And I'm out. You all have a good night.